Okay, the recorder's on now, so you can go ahead and just basically tell me what happened.
Oh, okay. Well, on the excavation there, it had, you know, for the Ark of the Covenant, primarily I was interested in just the Ark of the Covenant.
Yes.
And as I did the excavation down the cliff face, we ran into cutouts and we ran into crossholes in the bottom of this ancient quarry that showed that this was a crucifixion and execution spot. The Romans crucified people there, of course. The Jews, because of some of their special arrangements with the Romans, they basically stoned people there, and Stephen is one of the examples of what took place there.
Yes.
And so anyway, once we found that place, I knew that well, basically that I needed to get inside that escarpment, because there was several indications that it was just a system of tunnels and chambers, and that I needed to basically just go chamber by chamber, tunnel by tunnel, and whatever, and systematically go through there to see, you know, until I found the Ark of the Covenant, or until I didn't find it, one or the other. And so, anyway, we found it on January 6, 1982, at approximately 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay. And so, when I found it, it was in a situation that, well, I had not anticipated or expected. It was in a chamber that was totally filled with what appeared to be debris.
Right.
And what turned out to be basically
Chapter quest.
a bunch of materials, furnishings of the first temple, covered first by animal skin, and then that covered by boards, and then these covered by stone, just whatever they could get their hands on looked like. Looked like it had been done in a hurry. It looked like they just grabbed everything, whatever they could get to fill this place. And I was still a little fuzzy on why that would be done, but I don't think you know, to know everything about when God does something, I do know it's done just perfectly so. But on the occasion of my fourth visit in to the area, I was going to make another attempt at getting some video footage.
Get some what?
I was going to make an attempt at getting some video footage.
Oh, okay.
And to that time, I had not had any success with any kind of reproduction. That attempt that I made, I included Polaroid cameras, 35 millimeter cameras, and VHS camera video system. So anyway, I went into the chamber, and myself in there, and of course the thing that became apparent immediately was that the place was totally clean.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had done what I had decided that I was going to have to do, and that was to clean all the debris and everything out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I guess I should say a couple of words here. The Ark of the Covenant was not covered in all this debris like everything else was. It was in a separate container.
Mm-hmm.
A thin wall stone box. And this extended from the floor, which I didn't know at the time, the dimensions or whatever. But anyway, the box extended up to within approximately 3 inches of the ceiling.
Was it sitting on top of something else?
Well, the fact of the matter was, Bill, that I never did get in there and measure everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really don't know.
Okay.
Looking back on it, I would have had to have been there when the cleanup took place in order to know
Yeah.
all of that, and I simply was not there. And anyway, the Ark of the Covenant, the mercy seat, was set in a manner under the crack that came down, extended down from the crucifixion side above, so that the blood went on the top of the mercy seat.
Right.
Right. And then, anyway, when it was all cleaned up, situated, and positioned, it was still appeared to be in that very same position, even though it was no longer in the box.
Mm-hmm.
And there's several things rather remarkable about what had happened there. The place was cleaned up. The Ark of the Covenant was sitting against the wall at the east end of the cave, and the cave is not perfectly oriented eastward, north, or south.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just on the eastern end, basically,
Okay.
of that. And behind this crystalline wall that emits the colors of the rainbow.
This is the wall behind the Ark.
That's correct.
Okay.
The vertical wall.
Now, the Ark was facing you if you were standing looking at it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
At that point in time. And so I got a phone call on this that I'll share, which was kind of unusual. It's one of the things that made me decide to say something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, I got a phone call from this fellow, and he says, Ron, he says, would you describe what the Ark of the Covenant looked like? It looks like to me. And I said, well, I don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have I just haven't done that. And so anyway, I said, why do you ask? And he seemed a little distressed with the whole thing, And
Mm-hmm.
he said, well, I had a dream. And I don't remember, if it was the night before he was talking to me that day, or anyway, it hadn't been too long since he had this dream. And he said, I've been praying since I heard about the Ark of the Covenant that the Lord would let me see what it looked like. I just had a real burden to see what it looked like.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, I had this dream, and I was in this chamber in this dream. And he said, and the Ark of the Covenant was right in front of me, basically.
Mm-hmm.
He said, however, the wall behind the Ark of the Covenant, and he described it perfectly,
What you'd say.
right. And he said, I got so distracted by the colors and all of that of this rainbow that I did not zero in on the Ark of the Covenant itself. And instead, and the green went away without my having had a good look at the Ark of the Covenant. Okay?
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a surprise and a pleasant one, I might add, because it indicated that God, wanted people to, didn't mind people having a description of it at least. And at least this one fellow, he didn't seem, shall we say, more unusual or different than anyone else, or several other people that had asked. Did seem to be an honest guy and all of that. I think he could have made that description without having seen it. But, there's no way he could have. So, anyway, at that point, I said, well, just be grateful that you got to see inside the chamber. But I'll verify that that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
But then I said, I guess we probably ought to do something to give a general idea of what the Ark of the Covenant looked like. So at that time I decided to get Jim Kankowski to work me up something,
Right.
And so anyway, back to the experience of when I got in there. Now, the room has its own light since I made that entrance in, but it didn't happen until I had gotten inside the chamber and was standing on the floor of the chamber. And I did all my getting in the dark. And so when things kind of lighted up, I was really shocked by what I saw. And that is, the place had been cleaned out, and that there were 4 people in there. And so basically, I was going to ask, what are you doing in here? Because I'm the only person I knew of that had a permission or the right to be in there.
Yeah.
And at that point, apparently I became aware of my physical conditions altered to the point that I knew I was in the presence of angels. That these were not just people.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't breathe, I couldn't move, I couldn't talk, couldn't do anything. And so, anyway, at that point, and this, you basically just keep in mind that I was very, very stunned by the whole thing.
Right.
So the one angel talked to me and briefly said that they had been watching over the Ark of the Covenant ever since Moses had put the tablestone in there. And that God wanted everyone to see this.
Yeah.
At a particular time. And so anyway, he told me to set up my
your video camera.
Yeah, I set that up on the tripod, and which by that time, it kind of drummed into my head. You usually got a better picture if you use tripods. So anyway, I set this all up and aimed it at the Ark of the Covenant at that point. And I turned it on and went off. And the angels, one took a corner of each of the ark of the mercy seat of God,
Yeah.
and lifted it, and when the one angel had talked with me, said, get the tables of stone out of the Ark of the Covenant. Get the tables of stone out of the Ark of the Covenant. So I went over and leaned down and cut them out.
Ron?
Yes.
Could you speak up just a little bit? I'm having trouble hearing you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, and I leaned in and picked up the tables of stone and backed away.
Mm-hmm.
They lowered the mercy seat back into position.
Okay.
And then I just stood there with the tables of stone, and the angel came and got them and took them from my hand and put them on a stone, kind of a shelf or ledge, whatever.
Right there next to the wall.
Right, part of the wall at near the exit.
The original exit?
Yeah.
So that would be, I guess, on the south side?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
South side of the... And so, anyway,
Now, let me ask you a question here.
Okay.
Because when you told me this before, you told me, you took the tables of stone out.
Yeah.
And then the angel told you something about the tables of stone.
Yeah, it told me that it had to do with when these were to be shown the world.
Right.
Two things were stated. One, that if I was faithful, I'd have the privilege of sharing this. The second was that when the mark of the beast law was enforced, that shortly after that was when
Okay.
it would take place. And here is a little bit of a conundrum. It wasn't stated mark of the beast law. It was stated on the Sunday law. But I tell people, and I think that it's wiser to tell people that since it's not lying or deceiving in any manner, is that when the mark of the beast law is enforced.
Right. But the angel said Sunday law.
That's right.
Okay. Well, I'll certainly do it that way.
Okay. And so...
Now, if I remember correctly, at that point you said you didn't know what to do with the tables of stone because you were holding them.
Well, I didn't... the thing I didn't know what to do with was later, was after I had taken the video back to my room and checked it to make sure that I had good, video.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do with that. So I went back to the cave to ask the angel what I should do with that.
Okay.
And put it on the table.